welcome back everybody. Hey, good morning everybody. Hey, sorry I wasn't here last week. I had family that drove in from out of state, so we were enjoying some family time and definitely was not able to make it out here to the hangar, which was okay. That happens from time to time. But if you guys saw the community post, you guys learned that already. But for those that hadn't seen it, that's why I wasn't here last weekend. Anyway, if you notice behind me, we got a couple of the panels open here on the nose. And the last time I ever had a camera pointed that direction was with the old camera before the GoPro, so definitely didn't get a neat little inside look at a panel that's rarely open. We had to go in here to chase down an air leak. That's why it's open. We got a valve that had to come out because it was leaking. That's the valve that it's connected to a control up in the cockpit that when it's operated, it deploys the ram air turbine on the left-hand side of the aircraft here. But real quick, I'll give you guys a little rundown on what's in here because it's very rare to see inside here. So give me a second. So if you've ever wondered what these little air scoops are for on either side of the nose, this is for the environmental control systems, and there's two of them on the aircraft, one on this side and one on the starboard side there. And this is the heart of that right here, and it almost looks like a turbocharger, which is kind of neat. But this takes the this taps off the bleed air from the engines, both sides, and drives the turbine in here, which drives the compressor and does a bunch of fun stuff inside here. And this is what does all the cabin pressurization and the cooling and heating for up in there. I believe this side does the cockpits. The package on the other side of the aircraft is for cooling of all the avionics, so the radar and everything up there in door 19. So I may have that backwards. I'd have to look in the book, but yeah, one side does the cockpits, the other side does the avionics, and I don't remember which side's which, but I'm pretty sure this side does the cockpits. But that is what is in here. That there, and you can see this is a sealed panel, that is the underside of the pilot's left-hand console. So kind of neat to see all this fun stuff inside here. That's for the formation lights. And then there's a little access door when this panel's here for emergency rescue. So if anybody on the ground and the cockpits are jammed, someone on the ground can come over and yank this handle out and it'll jettison both canopies. Neat stuff. But I figured I'd give you guys a nice little inside look at that. Well, that's all fine and dandy on the airplane, but we got some ground power equipment to deal with as well. So we got some parts in for the NC8. I mentioned this before. We got the undervolt relay, or I'm sorry, the overvolt relay for the DC cable on this machine, and I got a new rheostat for the AC voltage adjust that I need in order to make this thing have a proper AC voltage output. Still chasing down a relay, an overvolt protection relay for the AC side, so that's been proven a little harder to find. These are common, but I have something a little bit more higher priority than this. I'm going to get to this today, but I got a little more high priority over here in the form of the generator that we're using to drive a hydraulic unit that we're using to swing the gear on the ME262. And right there, that red battery finally died. That's a 24 volt aviation battery that we've been using on a 24 volt starting system on this generator. Well, that died. Those are a lot cheaper, but now we need two of them. So I get to wire up another set of batteries and make this thing play nice. So I'm gonna get to this. Well, that didn't go as planned. I just spent the last half hour looking for more of these battery terminals because I need 4 of them to wire this thing up. I have the cable I need, I just need terminals. And I thought we had a lot more of those, but I just realized that we just used almost all of them on the NC8, hydraulic mule, and Dash 60. So now I don't have any left other than this one for this machine. So this is now a next week Jamie problem. So I'll get back to that when we get some more of these. On to the NC8. All right, now to get this adjustment out, I'm gonna get this knob off first of all, like so. And I can get that nut off. I need a wrench. Alright, got the right wrench for this job, the old Universal 16th. Something tells me that that has not been removed ever in this thing's life. Let's see, when was this made? Don't have the date on this one, I don't think. It's somewhere on here. But some of the earlier tags on this thing have 82 written all over it, so this is pretty old. If that's 82, that means this thing has been here for 43 years, possibly more. So I'm gonna need something a little bit more to deal with that. All right, we'll try this. And if this doesn't work, well, it should have. There we go. The fun part, this is the easy part. The fun part would be I have to unsolder this from the back. And I don't have a lot of room to work with back there. But there's that, there's the knob. All right, let's get over there. All right, so there's where I'm working. That guy right there, looks like there's a zip tie I can cut. And let's get to it. I got my wires marked. There's one wire loose. That's a little warm, sorry. Ow. Burnt my finger a little. I'll live. All right, there's that. That does not want to let go. I can fix that. All right, here's the easy solution for this problem. There. All right, so here is this. This is the voltage adjustment for the AC side, and what we have here is whenever you turn this, you got this little arm that moves. It makes contact with all these wire windings right here on the side. All these are exposed and they have oxidized over the years. We tried cleaning this, but sometimes it's just too far gone. The contact has gotten eroded to a point too. This is just too far gone. But this is what you use for high power applications. Here's the new one. And as you can see, that one looks a lot cleaner and a lot shinier. And this one's pretty much brand new, so we gotta put this one in. So now to wire it up just like it was in there. Let's just do the easy one first since it's right here. Let that cool. Don't want a cold joint. That looks like that's a good one there. I gotta prep the wire in there real quick first for the next. There we go, get a good solder flow. There we are. All right. What I wanted to do is leave a little bit exposed here. I'm going to use that second wire that's in there. I'm going to make a hook on it and hook that and then solder them together. That'll be a lot easier because there's not a lot of that little hole there to work with to actually be able to shove two wires through it. But I'll get a good connection that way. All right, well, I got that. Those shots aren't going to make it in because I already know because my head was in the way for the most part because I had to sit over there and lean over upside down and work, and that was not very easy. So that's in. Now I got to bolt it to the panel and then move on to the relay, and then we can fire this thing up and test it. All right, the knob is back on. Feels pretty good, and I'm going to leave that bottomed out, and now we can move on to the relay. All right, so here's that bad relay, and I'm going to change this one out the easy way. All right, new relay is in, everything's landed properly, and I clipped out the resistor that we tried to use on the old one. And for those that remember, the resistor was an idea that we came up because this relay was tripping way too low. So we used this relay, or this resistor, to reduce the voltage to the sense wire, the sensing pin here, and it worked great on the test bench. Did not want to work here in the machine, so we had to get a new relay, and thankfully we were able to find one. So I'm gonna get this button back up, and we're ready to fire this thing up and test it out. I gotta go find my meter first, and I gotta clear a path to the door. All right, so I have this ready to go. Now I gotta get it out of here. That's dead right now. It's got a dead battery, so I can't get that out of the way. I do have a clear path out, but that tug is definitely dead, like all the way dead. I don't want to have to move this, but I got enough space here that I think I can meander it around out of here. Here's why this one's dead. It's missing its head. All right, got my hearing protection on, be just like I'm running around on the flight deck with this thing. Let's get her fired up and let's get her out the hangar and warm her up. I think we're gonna take a little ride over to Vietnam War Flight Museum and see what they got going on over there too. Plenty of time to warm this thing up, because it's actually pretty chilly today, and I'm not gonna run this thing at high RPM on a cold engine. I'm not gonna abuse our equipment like that. So let's go warm her up. Alright, so over here at Vietnam War Flight Museum, there's not a whole lot going on. I thought there was going to be some stuff going on today, or a lot more people here, and turns out not the case. L39 and our F100 Super Sabre, one of two flyable in the world. The second one just recently sold and is under new ownership, so that one is going to be an active flyer again too. So now one of only two in the world. She was the only one for a few years. But yeah, not a whole lot going on over here. All right, let's get back over to our hangar and let's get this thing, this NC8 running. All right, she's had a good run. Let's run her up to generator mode and let's see what we got. Couple small adjustments and she's running like a top. It's good to have that back in service. that wraps up our work for the weekend here. Glad I got at least something running good again, and we can put that back into service. Generators next week and whatever else we got over with the F4. So with that, thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.